We're meeting for our 4th Cultural Rucksack Teacher Insight meeting, and today we are looking at a whole range of things, but we're going to quite quickly rattle through this agenda, I think, because we've got kind of 15 minutes for each slot, and there's quite a lot we'd love to talk to you about today. So we're going to have some introductions. If everybody could introduce themselves in the chat, say your name and organisation, and just a one word of how you're feeling today, how you're arriving in this space today, how you're feeling about this meeting and what you're hoping to get out of it, that would be brilliant. So if you could be doing that in the chat, and then we're going to have some brief updates from a few of our arts partners, just 5 minutes each, so that we can then quickly move on to the Cultural Rucksack updates. Martin's going to share some of the things that he's been up to, where we're at with the sign-ups, and kind of some of the resources and papers that he's been preparing for teachers. And we'll have a few questions along the way, making use of the chat function. And then we're going to talk about confidence and re-engagement with the school. So I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and so I can see you all again. And if we could start by just sharing in the chat who we are, how we're feeling, how things are going. Thanks, Hannah. You're feeling all footballed out. Oh, was it a big weekend?
Yeah, it's a big personal footballing weekend. I couldn't care less what those people are doing over wherever they're playing. It's been a very personal weekend of football. I'm exhausted.
Oh wow! Oh wow! For playing?
Well, not personally, but yeah.
Oh. I thought you meant you were on the field then. No, that's
donning my strip, getting in.
Martin's here, welcoming everybody. Glad to be at the meeting. A moment of calm during a busy day.
Yep.
Karen, thanks for coming from William Booth. I think this is your first meeting, so we're really pleased to have you, and I'm glad you're feeling curious to find out what it's all about. Ruth from New Art Exchange, pleased to see lots of familiar faces. I know it's great, isn't it, to get together after a while. And Lisa from the Contemporary, feeling great seeing people you've not seen in a long time. That's fab. Maria's here, who's the Marketing Associate from Challenge. Sarah from Our Ladies in well, feeling great. One day nearer the weekend. It's Monday, isn't it? Sorry. Rachel from Lakeside Society. Lee from Blue Coat Primary, Year 1 teacher, art lead. Feeling positive, which is great. And Orla from Lit Theatre too. Happy to be here. And I don't know how Linda's feeling. You're not sure. Linda, I hope you're okay. Sarah from Nottingham Academy. Great to see. Can't see the meeting anymore, so I'll leave and rejoin. Okay, Sarah, that's fine. Come back when you can. Brilliant. Thanks, everybody. I hope that this opportunity to sort of meet each other and discuss things and come together is useful for everybody. We've got lots of arts partners, which is lovely. Hopefully there'll be some more schools. I did have a number of apologies this afternoon, unfortunately, but lots of people wanting to watch the recording again. So yeah, you'll be rewatched. So that's great. So in terms of moving on through our agenda, if we could start by having an introduction from Lakeside, a 5-minute update from Rachel, that would be fantastic. Just about what you're doing at the moment, things that you'd like to discuss with schools. So Rachel, over to you.
Thank you. That's brilliant. I'll try and be quick because I can talk for England, so I'll try and be quick. So for the people that don't know, we are the university's public arts centre. So we're based right in the middle of Highfields Park, and we have gallery spaces, museum, theatre, and incredible outdoor spaces, which we use quite a lot for making work. So I wanted just to have a chat today because, a bit like you, I was reading all through the Cultural Rucksack frameworks that you've been sent through. And I got really excited because like you, we're kind of changing the way that we work a little bit, just in terms of the kind of relationship that we have with schools. So we're trying to get a couple of schools to adopt us, if they'd like to, so that we can move a little bit further forwards. And recently we've been kind of partnering up with, the first thing we're going to be doing in the autumn was we've partnered up with Cultural Rucksack, and they're going to be based at Highfield Park with us 2 days a week, basically delivering similar kind of packages that they would if you actually went on a school trip with them. They are going to be based outside, looking at early history, really. So we're looking at creating work within the museum, so you get to handle artifacts. The students will get a chance to do ancient crafts and look at kind of baking and cooking outside, as well as everything from making string out of nettles, you name it. We're going to go back to early history for that to happen, and that's going to be a year-round program, which would be really exciting. And then also what we're doing is I've recently just partnered up with Makers of Imaginary World, who've just done a piece of incredible, unique installation here in Lakeside, looking at early kind of technology, really. So everything from mechanical kind of wind-up dolls and toys, right through to robotic arm with facial recognition that was able to dance with the children once it realised where they were. And to make that happen, we kind of asked 3 schools to become on as advisors for us to create the resources. And that was not, I want you to go away and write them. That was kind of being able to say, are we on the right track? Is it what you need? We know that working in the arts, you get that awe and wonder. But what's often really missing is that link to the Ofsted framework or the Let's Create. So we've been working with teachers to help us kind of make sure whatever we're delivering has got that curriculum undertone, so that actually you get to see how that creative curriculum can really make a difference in class. And that's what I want to talk today. So I'm not sure if I've got any secondary school teachers with me, but we have this Thursday a meeting at 4 o'clock to discuss the Eye of Witness, which is the exhibition that's coming to us in January, all about the Holocaust. And what we would like is schools to come on board as advisors again, to work with not only the creator of the exhibition, but also the Holocaust Museum, so that we can create resources and a really intensive CPD for teachers, because we know it's tricky. These are tricky conversations that you've got to have, and using, so this is really about looking at that propaganda photography and how we can change the way that we start seeing images of the Holocaust, and actually how we flip the narrative a little bit. But we know we need some help in creating the best resources for that to happen, and also to help teachers have those tools. So I'm desperate for that. But the last thing, and I will shut up, I promise, is that we have got a free puppet show. It's basically a puppet on top of a van show that will arrive in your school in the playground. So it's an outdoor performance. It is free. I have 1 day left, which is Monday, the 28th of June. So it's a couple of weeks' time. It can do 1 year group at a time, so up to 120 children can see this particular piece. It's really about kind of going in there. It's a non-verbal piece, so it's purely accessible for any children that wants to see it. It's creative and fun and a little bit of magic, which when we come to the end of term and everybody's had the worst year ever, we just thought you might need a little bit of a pick-me-up to kind of do some fun things in there. And there's loads of little fun resources you can have as well. So that's it. I'm going to shut up. But if you need anything, I'll put my email in there and people can email me if they want.
Okay. I think Sarah from Our Ladies has asked whether the Heritage programme was also for Key Stage 2.
Yeah, it's aimed at 5+, so it'll be perfect for Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2.
Right. Yeah, I have a teacher who might be interested in joining you for that. So yeah, Year 5 teacher. Yeah.
For the Holocaust, you mean, or for the actual
Holocaust? For the Holocaust. Yeah, we'd love puppets as well if that's going.
The Holocaust it's really aimed, I think, probably at secondary, only because the imagery that we're looking at is actually quite harrowing in the
Right.
fact of.
I'll tell Hannah not then. That's fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more of a year 9 kind
Right.
of pre-GCSE kind of in terms of, because it's looking at those quick. We're using the exhibition to kind of start looking at kind of everything from Black Lives Matter to consent and things like that, which will the installation will pull up all of those kind of things. So I don't think it's really aimed at primary.
That's fine. Yeah, you sent the message, and I sent to because I know she does a bit on that. So yeah.
But yes, Puppet Van, if you want it, is desperately wanting to come out and play.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. I'll be in touch then. Yeah, about the 28th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a few people have just joined us. For those that have just joined, can you add your name and organisation or school in the chat, and just for everyone's clarity, if you're primary or secondary. Next, we're going to hear from Ruth at New Art Exchange. So Ruth, if you could unmute. Welcome.
Hi everyone. Yes, I don't know if you all know New Art Exchange. It's the big black box very near the Goose Fair site by the forest. We opened a couple of weeks ago after being closed for a year, so it's just fantastic to be back. It's a contemporary art space, stimulating new perspectives on the value of diversity in art and society. And my role is to liaise with schools. I know quite a few of you already, and just like Rachel, I'm really keen to form close partnerships, close links with you all as individuals. You're the experts. We have a changing programme. We have 3 seasons over the year, and I work closely with the curators to devise activities that relate to the exhibitions. I've got a fantastic, very small but perfectly formed team of associate artists, and we work out a menu of options for every exhibition, and I publicise those through a newsletter. So if you'd like to be on my mailing list for my newsletter, it goes out termly. And there are sometimes kind of free offers. For instance, in the last one I offered a free workshop in July, and got taken up quite quickly. I was only allowed to do 4 schools workshops this summer term, which was very frustrating for me, but it did mean that we got those slots booked quickly. It'll open. We're hoping that everything will open up a lot more in September. I work with Artsmark schools. I do a CP. I can provide CPD for schools. Quite often we've done that through Artsmark. I'm considering organising another CPD for schools, which is looking at animation using iPads with children. That was very popular before, and I thought we could do another one in the autumn. I'm also working on, and this was very much inspired by the Black Lives Matter campaigns of last summer. I'm organising, I'm supporting the organisation of an anti-racism CPD session, anti-racism in schools, and that's on the 23rd of September. And I'm working with Aisha Daffy, who's an art teacher at Fernwood School, and Janelle Brown, who's part of the Next Gen movement, on pulling that together. And that's a really important piece of CPD work, I feel. I also do Arts Awards at New Art Exchange, and I have 2 Arts Award after school art clubs. So if any of you have, children, young people in Key Stage 2 who are really into art, let them know that there is the opportunity to do Arts Award after school. Those are free, those workshops. We've got a new project just starting up now. I've just been advertising for an artist to take on this role. The project's called The Art of Belonging, and it's a project for young refugees, and we're working with Nest, which is the refugee school based at College Street at the moment. I think they're looking for a new home, but it's fantastic working with them, and that's a European project, and I'm working with Nottingham University on that. We've also got a substantial sum of money from the Freelands Foundation to do a new project called Building Bridges, Forging Futures. And this grew out of the pilot that some of you might have been aware of, called Creating Connections, that we did last year, which is exploring young people's cultural identity, the sense that they have of their own personal cultural identity, and we're expanding that now to go out to lots of other schools over the next 3 years. So I'll be keeping you informed about that. And I've actually got a new assistant being employed from that money, so that's really good. There'll be a new learning coordinator working with me soon. So apart from, I think the last thing I wanted to mention was online activities. Very much kind of, we were kind of kicked into action by lockdown and did a few not very good online activities in March and April, but we've learnt a lot through them. And now I'm quite proud really of our online activity offer. So if you go onto the New Art Exchange website, which is nae.org.uk, and go to the learning section, you'll see we've started populating it with online art activities, and there's going to be a new whole section on creating connections art activities that we're going to upload in the next couple of weeks. I think that's everything from me.
That's great. Does anyone have any questions for Ruth at all? If you do, you can add them in the chat if you don't want to send them now. And Ruth, if you put your email as well in the chat, that'd be great.
I will do that now.
Fantastic, thank you. There's so much going on, isn't there? Lisa from the Contemporary is got a slot now, so 5 minutes from you would be brilliant, and then we might hear from some others.
Okay, hi everyone. That was so good, Rachel and Ruth. I'm so excited to hear what you're doing, because I haven't heard for such a long time what other cultural organisations are doing. So that's really, really wonderful to hear all that. So I'm from Nottingham Contemporary, and if you haven't visited us before, if I say we're next to the Galleries of Justice, you'll probably know where we are, next to the tram line. We recently again opened our exhibitions, and at the moment we've got 3 solo exhibitions on. We've got a painting exhibition by Alison Katz, we've got a sculpture exhibition by Erica Vizzuti, and an installation by Melanie Matranga, but you can see all of that online and get all the details there. So I'm part of a learning team, and my remit is actually families and our Schools of Tomorrow programme. We have Charlotte Tupper, who, apologies, I've just got to, isn't that typical? My phone goes just as I'm talking. Our schools programmer for primary is Charlotte Tupper, and our schools programmer for secondary is Wayne Shag-Smith. Now, I've put my email address in the chat, so you can get in touch with me, and I can put you in touch with anyone who your inquiry is relevant for. What I wanted to share with you really was what our offer is at the moment. We've learned so much being in lockdown, as we all have. And also we've learned so much by working really closely with 8 partner schools, 7 of them being primary, 1 of them being a nursery. And this has changed our offer, our schools offer, quite considerably, as we are learning from you guys. And we have realised how bespoke our offer needs to be for each and every one of you. So we're in a process of change and adapting to make sure that our offer is more suitable for you and your requirements. So Charlotte has put together a provisional programme of how we might change. And we're looking at delivering artist experience workshops in the gallery. So these are 2-hour workshops which are bespoke with an artist. And they're also about meeting other members of the teams as well. So it's not just about working with an artist on that day, it's actually looking into the careers of other team members. So it might be a technician or a curator that we can bring on board, wherever specialities you want to hear about. We're also developing Artists in Schools offer, and this is more of a bit of a residency offer, where there's strong links formed with the school, and it's not just a parachute sort of workshop, it's we work with you to develop a series of workshops. And looking at a variety of contemporary art approaches. I think from the venues that you hear from, we've all got very, very different offers about what we do. So ours is very much particularly contemporary art and the way that we can use that and the thinking behind that and how we can approach that across the whole subject board. So that's one. And then there's another one that we're developing, which is CPD, which is about how we can fill gaps in the curriculum. So how that creative thinking can go across, which sort of ties in with the previous offer. Both of those are linked to Arts Award and Arts Mark, and we will support you through those journeys should you need it. But we're also going to keep our self-led resources, which is what we've done traditionally. However, they will be changing slightly more in line with what schools require. And that's more for you guys to come to the gallery and have the confidence to do some activities. So they're very much very accessible in the sense that your knowledge doesn't have to be great. I think this is the biggest fear of some of the teachers. They feel they haven't got the knowledge, and actually these activities are for everyone to do. So so they're the 4 offers that we're developing for schools. One of the things that I would say is we've got a great families offer as well online, and quite a lot of our schools have been picking up on those activities to do in their classrooms, particularly the primary schools. So do go and have a look at our families offer, and they've also been circulating it to the families at their schools, and we've sent out over 600 packs, and most of them material packs, most of them have been in the city. So some of the activities are just using objects at home, everyday objects, and others you can ask us and we'll send you a pack in the post of materials as well. I'm just trying to think what else. I've got a list I'm just about to go to, and I know you're going to cut me off at any minute. So I think the key thing is that we are developing and we are changing, and this has come out of our Schools of Tomorrow programme of how to work better with schools. So we also have asked schools to join us to do to test out our programmes and be pilot schools. So that also may be a possibility if you're interested in working closely with us. Obviously, working with any cultural partner is very good for your Arts Mark, and developing those relationships is really important, and it's how we might be able to help. So if you've got any questions at all, and it may even result you not coming to Contemporary, but we can be there to support and just guide you and signpost you in the right direction should you require that. So my email's in the chat, and any questions just pop in.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's brilliant. That's great. We've got a number of other arts partners here in the room, but we do only have 3 minutes before we need to move on. So I just wondered if Hannah wanted to say a couple of words or say hello, just so everyone knows you, that from the Music Hub. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm from the Music Hub. In terms of offers, it's pretty much the offers that we have year round for schools. So particularly if you are a secondary school and you are looking for provision for instrumental teaching next year, do get in touch. The timetable is well underway, but that's not to say we can't slot you in if there's students coming to you next year who you know would like to continue to play an instrument. We are going to move heaven and earth to help you to accommodate them. And speaking of which, we are looking at putting together a programme of transition activities. The ship has somewhat sailed this year, but we are very aware that where there is a precipitous drop-off between primary and secondary school of the number of children playing instruments, and we want to plug that gap, and the best way to do that is to put primary and secondary music leads in touch with one another. So we're working on that at the moment. You will all, hopefully, if you're part of the communication platforms for music, will have had information about how we might make that happen and the sorts of events that we might do. But yeah, this time next year, or probably actually from around about the spring term next year, there should be a really good programme of transition events looking at how we support children from year 5 and upwards to make the switch up to secondary school and continue to play music. So yeah, it's lots of good things going on. A lot of it is what you're already familiar with, but yeah, if there's stuff you need, it's not too late to get it booked for next academic year, so give us a shout.
Brilliant. Thank you, Hannah. And again, if you wanted to add your details to the chat, just in case anyone hasn't got your email. And just quickly, I think there's some extra information going in the chat. So Ruth has mentioned the amazing Phoebe Boswell exhibition that's on at the moment, and that Tuesday mornings is the best time for school groups. I'm saying this because I know you can read it, but for those that are watching it again, they can't see the chat. And Lisa's also mentioned that Mondays is their school visit days. So yeah, it's only open to schools on Mondays so that it can be COVID safe. Just a very quick, I think the only other arts partner that's here in the room with us is Orla. So Orla, just to quickly, briefly say hello. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Oh, hello everyone. Thank you. Oh, I love the sound of everyone's offers. I just can't wait to get back out there and get into your venues. It all sounds so exciting. And the music hub, my son used to play the cello and he's got a real passion for it now. So thank you so much. That legacy still continues. So I'm Orla and I'm the artistic director for Lit Theatre Company. So our art form focus is theatre. We also intertwine visual arts into that, so sometimes it can be multimedia arts experiences. We are currently delivering Arts Award for schools, and it's a very bespoke approach. So we meet with teachers one-to-one to see how we can work with them to get the best for their children and young people. And the art form that we look at is theatre. With one school with year sixes, we're currently making a film about the environment, which is really exciting. They're very passionate about it. And that school is actually going on their Art Smart journey. So we're Art Smart, part of the Art Smart partnership programme. Oh, that's a nice tongue twister for a Monday afternoon. So we can support schools on their journeys towards that award as well. Just quickly let you know that we also have a big school offer, which is aimed at year sixes, but also suitable for year five. And we use forum theatre to explore big challenges in life and hard emotions and how to take positive action, particularly when you go from the primary environment to the secondary environment. And we've got plenty of space for that. I know you're probably all planned for the rest of the year, but we do have space to come in and do that. And it's always very lively and lots of fun. So that's me at Lit. I'll put my email in the chat. Lovely to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Orla. Fantastic. Amazing to hear from all of you. We're going to move on now so that Martin gets a chance to update us all on the Cultural Rucksack. So Martin, over to you.
Right. Well, thank you very much. And again, you don't need me anymore listening to you lot. Doing a brilliant job. These elements that have come out there that are really spot on for what we're trying to achieve through the Cultural Rucksack, and I'll pick up on some of those points in a minute. And I think hopefully for the schools that are here, it's really useful for you to have an insight, a very brief insight into what the arts provision around the city is doing. And I think in setting up these meetings, we wanted to really develop something which I always found absolutely brilliant, was the Teachmeets that used to take place. For those of you who attended those, they were just little opportunities for staff and people to do a little 5-minute input, really rapid fire, bam, 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 and they were great. So we're looking at trying to develop this current meeting along that model, and I hope that will be useful. But also, I think what we'll be looking for in the future is for schools to do a little bit about maybe something special that you're doing, something that's working well for you, and share that as well. So sharing some good practice, and maybe, as I say, any ideas that you've got would be brilliant, just to have a few minutes on it and see what you're doing, because I think that all adds to the development of what we're trying to do within schools and across schools and with providers across the city as well. So just want to flag that up for next time, really. So if you're feeling brave, come and tell us what you're doing. It'd be lovely to hear. It'd be even better to come out and have a look one day, but one step at a time, eh? Right, I'm going to try and share a little PowerPoint thingy, if I can get that up. Here we go. Always get nervous at this point when it's having a think about what it's going to do. Is it actually going to do what it thinks? Yes. It's looking good, even if it's a bit slow.
We can see it.
Excellent. Okay, so I tried to sort of summarise roughly where we've got to, and that's one of the things that really heartened me listening to you all. I've heard elements of everything's been said already, that things that we've been highlighting through the work with the Cultural Rucksack, what schools have been telling us they want and what we want to try and achieve for them, and what providers are wanting to achieve as well. And I think that's that for me shows a little progress in what we're trying to do, and hopefully will drive this initiative a little bit further. So where are I now? I'm going to ask a couple of questions as we go through here, but I'm just going to cover a couple of points first, if I may. So the first thing we've tried to do, and I'll highlight this in a couple of slides time, is try and get people just to sign up, I suppose, to the intent, uses that word deliberately, about the culture, what we're trying to achieve. And so we've got for schools 10 things that we'd like you to be thinking about if you want to sign up for the Cultural Rucksack. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, ArtsMark does a lot of this, and you'll be very familiar. If you're doing ArtsMark, you will stroll through that ability to sign up to it, because you'll be all familiar with a lot of the terms that are going on there. And a lot of what we want to try and do is to encourage ArtsMark and Arts Award anyway, and potentially also CREST, which is the science bit, looking at creativity. Heard that word mentioned a few times. And Maria's very kindly reminded me that we've now got some updates done to the challenge website where you can go and actually sign up for that. But I'll come into the details of what that is in just a minute as well. The other thing then is, because a lot of you are here, I guess by default you've got an interest or a lead within culture within your organisations, and as part of that sign up, we'd like schools to be just saying, yes, we have got someone who's taking a lead on this, or it could be a team. I know we've had colleagues on these meetings in the past who have looked at a team approach to this, and that is just as good a way forward. So it's just identifying that is really key, and then it helps then enormously the providers who are dying to get into contact with you to share what their offer is. So there's some really interesting developments there, and I think part of that route is now, as we've heard already, people looking to develop really close, in-depth relationships with providers. So that school provider relationship, I think, is really important. The things that we've heard already from the Contemporary with the Schools of Tomorrow, and I'm Vice Chair of Nottingham Nursery, by the way, so thank you for getting them involved in it. It's been brilliant to see them involved in that programme, and then sort of the work that Lisa's been saying about Lakeside, wanting to develop links there, and I know that Ruth at NAA does the same there with some very strong links. So it's about developing those strong links, but it's also really great to hear those of you talking about collaboration. So that I know the arts form in which you're embedded in, providers, if having that awareness is coming across to me already, that you can want to share also and promote and highlight other providers and other art forms as well. So in that deep dive and relationship bit that's going on, there's opportunities to broaden out. And I think that's something that came back from some of the work we've done with providers, that they were very conscious that they want to collaborate to provide you the schools, with a better picture of what's happening. And I think that's part of what we're about as well. I've mentioned, sort of point 3 down there, celebrating what you do already and ideas with arts professionals. That's what the opportunity of these meetings are in particular. So one of the questions I was going to ask, with particularly the schools that are here, do any of you feel you need additional support, or do any of you feel that you've got support you can give to others? Because what we're finding is that some schools might be just starting on this journey and would be looking for maybe some additional support, someone to go to just to have a chat. Well, how have you done it? There are also already some existing really positive networks throughout the city. I mean, Hannah's here, there's the music network, which is, I attended one of those the other day, which is absolutely fantastic. I know there's one, the NST schools have one, and around Archway have one as well. So if you're not in one of those, would you like linking up with one? Do you need support? And if you're confident about delivering your curriculum, would you be able to give somebody else some support? So it's just really an open question about that. If you want to put something out on chat for us, that would be phenomenally useful. It just gives us an indication of perhaps where you are and also how we can help, because these meetings, as much as a point of bringing not only arts schools and providers together, but the schools themselves. So self-help and support there. So that's part of one of the underpinning principles we want to try and promote with the Cultural Rucksack. So if you want to be typing away that would be brill. So other bits we're doing, resources, and it's really encouraging to hear that. I know the travelling into the world of online resources was something that perhaps we were a little bit trepidation off at the beginning of this, weren't quite sure how to do it. I'm still not quite sure, to be honest with you. But there's been fantastic resources produced, and we've already heard that, you know, some of those have been developed, the contemporary NAE, and also Challenge themselves have developed resources over the last year or so. So we're trying to collect some of those up, and hopefully on the Challenge website provide links to others as well. There's another organisation, Harley Galleries, for example, have done something similar. So I think, Kathy, are we looking at trying to develop our website so there's a point where not only people can come and see our collection of resources, but then can be sort of sent out from there and have them directed to people around the table. Yeah, absolutely. And we're putting together a whole range of materials, really, for once you've signed up to the Cultural Rucksack, you get a kind of welcome pack with PDFs and various things that pull together the kind of offers from our arts providers. So yeah, there's lots that we're doing behind the scenes, I guess, to kind of be ready to support you. I think if people could answer, I think in terms of the chat and people answering your questions about the support that they need, Martin. Yeah. Simon. Yes, what have we got here? Simon's keen. Excellent. Would like to get things started in their school. I think that's Deanwood and Unity. And Beth as well really likes the idea of supportive hubs. Do either of you want to say a few words about that? About the kind of things that you're hoping to get?
Yeah, hiya. So I'm Simon from Deanwood and Unity. I mean, what we've been doing so far is we've tried to embed a few things into what we have these things called unit awards on a Tuesday all day, and we've taken the pupils, we sort of got them to look at the sort of the cultural aspects of Nottingham City. So we're based in Radford, so walking distance away. So things like the castle, the trip to Jerusalem, you know, all those are the caves, and so they highlighted the points of interest in Nottingham, and then they designed a route map which we followed, and then either myself or another teacher or even some of the pupils who knew a little bit about it gave a bit of a spiel about each place and each part. So we've taken a trip to Creswell Crags as well, just trying to get those sorts of things embedded in the curriculum. For us and for me, what would be really useful is I've already taken down all your email addresses and, you know, which organisations you're with. Is I suppose just more of that really, and more contacts and being able to talk to people about, you know, what you could offer us in terms of a pupil referral unit, because we obviously have pupils with not drastically different but quite different needs to a lot of pupils in mainstream schools. So yeah, more contacts, more ideas of what's out there, how we can go about organising those trips, and that's where we want to start really. I love the idea of getting the pupils into the arts, into music, and all these sorts of aspects that our pupils don't really have any access to at all. So that's where we're coming from, just right at the start, just more contacts, more ideas of what we can do.
That's great. So I mean, also I just noticed on the chat as well, people asking, we talked about a wall planner of events and things that are happening throughout the year, so you can help plan. Well, that's something that's in train at the moment, and that's being designed, isn't it, Kathy?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're trying to follow through on all the things that we've said we were going to do, and it's just that, I suppose, in signing up, one of the questions we asked is, do you need support, either, you know, or can you give support, just so that we can begin to bring people together? And you've already heard from some of the presentations that there are providers out there that want your support because it will help them develop their product, but which will benefit you as well. And also there could be schools out there who could support, and it's ways of bringing those things together. So it just takes a bit of time to get the dating bit sorted out. But, you know, I think that's certainly the process that we're wanting to follow. What else have we got here? How to be involved. So and again, going back to the curriculum bit, we've done some work on the curriculum, so happy to support and give advice and support around that. I've just written a short cultural and arts policy because someone asked about that last time, and it's not difficult to do, but it's there out in draft form. So any thoughts or feedback on that, because that might be useful to a few folks, and there's an assessment, self-assessment toolkit again as well to see how well you're doing and where you're at. But that again mirrors very much the arts mark. So if you feel confident about filling out the little toolkit we've got, actually, why don't you make a move towards arts mark, and you can get support for that as well. So getting involved in a few of those other initiatives might help.
Can I just ask possibly a really stupid question?
Please do. Yeah.
What's arts mark? I have no idea. I know you mentioned it before. I don't know what it is. I wasn't sure I was going to say anything. You said it again. I'm just like, what is that?
Okay. That's a huge assumption on our part, isn't it? Well, I suppose one of the best ways I can describe, if you know about this, there's lots of them around. There's careers mark, sports mark. Arts mark is looking at setting, I suppose, how you would manage and deliver arts and cultural activities across the school, within the curriculum, within the school community and beyond. So it's putting arts and culture really at the heart, very much the heart of what you do, and looking at a way in which you can develop the school, develop the pupils as individuals. It's also very much about taking pupil voice around developing, designing. I mean, this is where some of the work that Ruth does at NAE is really, really interesting. Looking at what they're, and you're doing some of it actually, what you've just said to me today about the pupils themselves designing and developing. So the actual process, that perhaps some of the things that you are doing, and if you look through the toolkit bit, that will begin to outline on one page of A4 the sort of things that Arts Mark is looking at covering. So there are lots of the marks around. This is one of them, but it's really putting the arts and culture at the heart of things. It's pity Nettie's not here because she leads on all this. And actually, Orla's here and she's helping some schools. So anybody else wants to sort of chip in there, I'd be very grateful and get me off the hook.
I think one of the things about Arts Mark is that you kind of register your and write your statement of intent, your commitment, and then you've got 2 years to be on your journey as you receive your, go through the things that you've said you'll do. And then after that 2 years, you'll be given your reward, and then you keep that for 2 years before you start again. So it's something where I've been hoping that we might be able to get a kind of support network for secondary schools to really understand how many are. I don't think there's that many secondary schools signed up to do Arts Mark, but within primaries, there's a kind of schools cluster off from primaries support each other on their Arts Mark journeys, and there's no reason why secondaries couldn't also be doing that more effectively. So it'd be good to have a chat, and good to talk more about pupil referral units with some of the providers that are here as well, about what we need to be hearing from your pupils to make sure that the offers are relevant and accessible for your young people, I think.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, someone got a hand up there as well. I'm just reading the icons correctly.
Oh yeah.
Beth, is it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Simon and I are actually in the same trust, and I'm at it's an SEMH special school, and so we have similar sorts of requirements, I suppose, and in terms of those sorts of things to get involved with, how that's sort of appropriate with our pupils and how things link in with them. So we'd certainly sort of be interested in being part of those same sorts of conversations, and I guess the other special school in our trust would also be interested. But I think for me it's about starting to become a bit more joined up and sort of see the sort of long-term plan of what we're doing and building on that, really. I'm this year I'm starting by I'm organising I'm doing the Westbury Academy Summer Exhibition, which is going to be like the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition but with less London. And it's going to, well, the other year we were asked if we were asked to think of house competitions that weren't sporting competitions, and obviously couldn't do it last year. So I'm doing it this year, and it will be sort of house points for submitting and then getting into the exhibition and prizes for categories and stuff like that. But I'd like to see that to be an annual thing, and I would like to sort of bring in maybe the sort of, the arts award things and sort of feed that into school, because that looks quite sort of almost sort of Duke of Edinburgh, but for the arts.
Yeah, that's right. And you got the Arts Award. So the individual pupils can go for Arts Award, and Arts Mark is something that schools will go for. But you can blend the two. very easily. I mean, you've already heard from Ruth, you know, that she's offering Arts Award classes, you know, outside of school. So there's things that that pupils can follow up with. So there's, you know, an emerging picture maybe of a plan that you could put together around this. And again, if you want me, you know, I'm happy to support around curriculum and progression there. And I know that Hannah with Music Team are doing a lot of work on the new music curriculum, which is, you know, quite detailed, and there's a good progression there as well. So there's the support here, and all you really have to do in many ways is just drop us an email, and then we know, then you get on our radar, and we can then help.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, I found these meetings very supportive in terms of that and finding out what's out there, and actually sort of the you know, come out of these and feel very sort of buoyed up with enthusiasm for the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, but we'll do come back to us and we can help you more. I mean, that's the main thing. So, you know, don't feel there could be more we can do outside of this. So, you know, please feel free to have a conversation. It'd be great.
Just one quick thing. Sorry, Martin. Just Sarah from Nottingham Academy mentioned in the chat that she felt a bit behind with this. But actually, I want to tell you, Sarah, that the sign up has only just gone live today. You could be the first. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, we're really on your side, and can work with you and put you in touch with people and signpost you to this fabulous challenge community of practice. You know, there's all these arts partners and people involved in challenge and the Cultural Rucksack. So yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, I work for GAT, so please, you know, I'm out there to help you in so many ways. So please drop me a line as well. Yeah, there's a lot of activity going on there, which is brilliant on the chat bit. So just finishing off, and it picks up on some of the points that were made, actually. I mean, we've talked about the deep dive and working with providers, which is brilliant. We've had 3 good case studies of that right at the beginning of this session. Yeah, the What's On Cultural Map newsletter, World Planet are all things that will be there to help you do your planning. And you're picking up as well that the providers are wanting to tailor things. They want it to be bespoke, but also that it's a core offer that you can plan year in, year out. So what schools are telling us, to show you, is that, you know, they want that consistent offer. So I know for the providers, it might seem like they're doing the same thing all the time, but for the new group of year 6 who are engaging with it, it's the first time they've done it. And you'll be doing it and delivering it within school and supporting your curriculum progression as a result. So those messages have been picked up, which is brilliant. So I'm really, you know, buoyed up, I guess, by what I've heard today. And my last question is probably the hardest one, because we haven't really got my teeth into this yet. I don't think neither I should, because this is something that will evolve, and that's what we think an entitlement would look like for young people in Nottingham. What would that provision, what would it mean to you? Is it about a list of things that you do? Is it about the way you do things? Is it about the way you engage with young people to develop what they want to do? And I'm really interested in this. I don't want to get involved. I haven't engaged too much with young people yet, because at the end of the day, what we're doing is for them. So once I've begun to put together what an idea with the Cultural Rucksack is, I can then explain to folks what we want them to do. But I'm really keen to develop this next bit, because it's one of the reasons that it was established in the first place, was to develop an idea of an entitlement. I want it to be more than just the 50 things you must do in Nottingham. I've been there and I've done that. It's what else? And so any thoughts on that? What does it mean to you? Just those two would be phenomenally helpful in just getting that conversation going. And I'm hoping it will be a conversation that will be ongoing. Because if things work well, that entitlement will change over time. As new issues come to the fore, as young people change, as time goes on, it should never be anything that's static or is delivered by someone like me. The more I can get it driven by young people and what we have to do within schools, the better, because then it's meaningful and means something to folks. So yeah, I'm really open-minded about that. And this is the start of that piece of work. I think the above 7 points begin to shape what the Cultural Rucksack is. An approach. It's that developing the strong link between schools and cultural providers, which is what Challenge is, which is at the heart of what Challenge does. And I say we've seen some good practice already. So the next bit, so I can finish my work and go home, basically. What does that entitlement look like? So we've got equality of opportunity. Absolutely. Career. Yeah, you'll see in the next slide. I think careers in creative industries is important. And I think, yeah, equality of access is key, because some of our schools really get engaged in stuff. The fact that you're here, shows that, but some who don't get engaged at all. So what's happening there? And that's another piece of work we're looking at doing. Yeah, broadening experiences. I mean, that broad and balanced curriculum is something the schools have to deliver. And this is part of that piece of work you have to do. But I think it's something that, is phenomenally valuable. So hopefully we'll get a few more responses to that as we go through. How am I doing for time, Kathy? I've got to talk quickly now, have I?
Yeah, we're okay. Yeah.
I thought so. So just again, just reinforcing some points I've said already, but this is where we came from the school's perspective in developing some of those ideas you've just seen. So we weren't sure what's available, whether it was appropriate, the relevance, and I think what we've heard from our colleagues today from the provision, that's what's starting to happen and has been happening anyway, which is great for some of them. So that's being on, but about providing support. And Simon's been mentioning about the need for that. Policy and curriculum stuff, well, that's beginning to be available. We've done some work around that as well. Next one, and I've had a similar meeting with providers as well. So they're asking us, what do you want? Because there's no use them putting stuff on if you're not going to use it. So that's where this bespoke bit has very much come from. Who are the contact points in schools? Well, if you sign up for the Rucksack, hopefully there'll be a contact point there, and these meetings will be an ideal opportunity. And then sort of promoting initiatives and events, which is what people have been doing. But I'm getting the feeling very much that those initiatives and events are now more aligned to schools thinking, which will be more valuable to you. And there's a range of things there. And then eventually, this is what the Rucksack's beginning to feel like. So down the bottom there, we've got careers. Art in the community is something that schools have been asking for as well. Where can we go and display stuff publicly? I'm still on the case of the empty shops in Nottingham. It's still an option to do some. I'm still waiting for them to come back to me, having had a meeting. I've chased them a couple of times, so that's something that's there that people can develop. Matching priorities, we're beginning to talk about that. So a lot of those things already are beginning to happen, which is really encouraging. And just to show what signing up the pledge looks like for you, there's some really good stuff coming through about what the entitlement would look like, developing children's confidence in the arts, awareness and opportunities to recognize personal cultural value. Experience. Yeah, I think knowing what's around in Nottingham as well, and being confident to access facilities and resources in Nottingham, really important. And those that perhaps better reflect young people's culture. So what does the signing up the Cultural Rucksack look like? Well, these are the 10 ideas we've put out there. And as I've mentioned, those who are doing ArtsMark won't have a problem with that because it's modelled a lot on what ArtsMark is about. And if you're doing all those things, then you're beginning to take on board what arts and culture mean within and across the school. So I'm not going to go through them now unless anyone's got a particular question about anything that's on there. Point 5 you're doing already. 4 is a really important one, and that's probably part, I think, of the entitlement, to be honest with you. As is number 3, I'll be doing that. And again, you said you're doing some work around that, getting young people involved, and those young people who know something about parts of Nottingham are talking to others about it, which is a great bit of practice. Support hubs, we've talked about setting those up. Some are existing, those who aren't part of them we need to know, and then we can get you linked up somehow. So those are the sort of things we're asking that people sign up to and make a sort of commitment to. We don't expect you to have done them all, but are certainly working towards it. Any questions about that? He says nervously. Stony silence.
There's lots of great things in the chat answering your last question.
Right. Yeah, I know, which is brilliant.
If they can see it, they can do it.
Indeed. And we'll take all this stuff as well, because this begins to shape the way we go forward. And we always try not to miss anything that comes out of these meetings. I might be a bit slow progress at times, but it is definitely progress that's happening. Okay. Well, the other thing should we move on to the next topic, Kathy? Or do you want to pick up some more pieces off there? Because there's some, you made some lovely comments, by the way, folks. So I do appreciate that. I really do. One of the things that's come up sort of recently as we're beginning to, I haven't looked too much at what the announcement is going to be made today, but I guess we're going to be as we are for a little bit longer. And for many schools, I know for the other part of my day job that I do, a national job, you know, I could get just starting to look at getting outside and engaging again. And providers, we've heard already, you know, NA just beginning to, and contemporary just beginning to open the doors again. And really, it's just trying to pick up what we can do to help people, you know, make that step, which for many who've been in lockdown and working in schools in various sizes and types of bubble, it, you know, it's a bit nervy getting out to the big wide world again. And just what are the key issues? How do schools feel here about getting out and going on back on visits again, either within Nottingham or beyond? So just have any thoughts on that? Simon, yeah, you're doing it, aren't you?
Yeah, we're ready. Like I said, we've already been to Creswell Crags.
Good.
I mean, there's nothing to do with the Cultural Rucksack, but we've already taken the pupils to Sherwood Pines and Go Ape and all that sort of as a rewards trip. So, yeah, I mean, as a pupil referral unit, we like to be out as much as possible, like get them out of Radford. Yeah. So this is perfect, you know. So yeah, no, we're itching to get
brilliant.
Going.
That's good news. Yeah, good stuff. And Sarah, you've got your hand up as well.
Hi, yeah. Well, we went out last Thursday. We took our year 5s to meet Anglo-Saxon Rob up at Pearlthorpe, and it was great. It was so nice. And all the other classes, they've all arranged trips. You know, the head's really into that, saying everyone books something, we can go and do it.
Brilliant.
And using our local parks as well, like Vernon Park or Forest Garden. So yeah, we are back in it, so which is really great. Excellent.
I know some people, and I've come across people being really quite nervy about going out, a bit confused, and also having to just plan again, even like using Evolve and bits and pieces like that, because you've forgotten how to use it because it's been that long since you've been out.
If it helps, Martin, I think I'm probably speaking for most arts organisations, our risk assessments are huge, and we are COVID secure. We wash, we dip, we we spray with defog, we're good to go. So I think, unfortunately, with the announcement that's probably going to happen tonight, it means that theatres aren't really going to open anymore for a while. But our galleries are open, even if it's to a house of 6 at the moment. So it's tricky. And we are doing school trips, but we're just having to break them down into smaller bite-sized kind of chunks. And it just means that we're having to think outside the box a little bit. But I think we're all pretty ready in terms of making it sure that it's safe and exciting and ready to go. So
that's what my last slide will be all about that, because you just spoiled my last slide now. So thank you. That's brilliant though, right? Yeah, that's what I would expect people to be doing. But of course, schools have been in this, situation for a long time, so they're very used to managing themselves and managing the bubbles incredibly well, and COVID. And then it's moving into providers. So we're just opening up and making sure that the two actually have a conversation. And I know it's going to be a positive one. Just to sort of highlight, this is what Andy Smith, who some of you will know, he's was based at College Street, is the outdoor advisor, and so this is what the City Council is saying. Yes, please, get out there as much as possible. So he's underpinning that, and again, just to sort of highlight, providers will have done the risk assessments. They might well have signed up to this COVID HSE charter as well, and what I expect providers to be doing is hopefully not sending them all the risk assessments, Rachel, but a summary of what's key for school groups to be able to manage themselves when they get to the venue. That's what I would expect. But the key thing is to have that conversation to build confidence, because I know working with providers, they put a huge amount of effort into opening for all the best of reasons. And we just hopefully we'll support each other by getting out and helping them as well. And some face-to-face rehearsals as well, Hannah, well done. I'd love to do these face-to-face one day. Crikey, is there another world other than Zoom? Teams? I'm hoping there is. So that would be fantastic at some stage, and maybe have a little launch party. Who knows of all this and what we've been doing. And again, transport, that's one of the issues that people have been talking about. Most schools, I think, are getting on single transport bits and heading off into different venues. So, yeah, some very positive messages. Any of that, that's me sort of. Oh, finished a bit early. Is that good? I hope it is. But there could be some time for questions, if not. So hopefully, and one other question I was going to ask there, are there any barriers? I mean, judging by what I'm seeing on here, you're all getting out and about, which makes my heart sing. So thank you and well done to all of you. Right, is there anything else, Kathy? Because I'm thinking I was behind time. I've now shot ahead, which...
Yeah, no, it's great. Everyone loves to finish 10 minutes early. I think we get around
yeah, you always get good feedback when you do that. No matter how bad the session's been, I can get away early.
No, I think the main thing is please go and look at the Challenge website, which is just www.challengenottingham.co.uk. It's growing and developing all the time. We're really trying to kind of pull together as much as possible so that it's a one-stop shop for teachers to find what they need to find. And if you go on there and it's not accessible for any reason, just get in touch with us. You know, Maria's here, the marketing associate, today. I'm here. We're around. So yeah, we want to be developing these relationships and signposting you and developing what you really need and what will be brilliant for children and young people. So I think definitely supporting teachers so that teachers, you know, supporting teachers' well-being through this, making sure you get some trips out as well would be brilliant. So organising some tours or some kind of best practice tours, things where you're supporting each other, as well as getting a chance to be creative yourselves, I think will really support you to support your kids that you work with. So yeah,
you need a boost as well.
Definitely. So I think we could, has anyone got any other questions? Or should we wrap up? I just want to thank you all so much for coming. It's great. So we'll be in touch again soon, and you'll be getting your wall planners in the post before the end of July, which is great. So yeah, please do go onto the website, sign up to the Cultural Rucksack, become a Cultural Rucksack school, and we'll be in touch again soon.
Yeah, and if you have any feedback about the policy document we've done or the toolkit we've got or any of the things we've sent out, again, please let us know, and we can respond to that, because as I say, I think it will be an evolving piece. So yeah, please be in contact.
Okay. Thanks everybody.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay. Cheers, folks. Bye. Thanks ever so much.
Guys.
Thank you.
About